Welcome back. Trade of the day today. Crude oil futures, CLV6 contract sitting out at 30 days to expiration. This is a market where we've seen a little bit of just upward slow price pressure in recent weeks. There's been a lot of talk around the Iran war headlines. Today, the memorandum of understanding officially expired. Trump's threatening to go back to war. Iran saying we're going to have a more offensive stance moving forward. Where's the volatility in this market coming in? Where's the craziness? As long as the ships are moving at a low level, oil can keep squeezing higher. But without bombs falling and there being a material escalation here henceforth, oil probably isn't going to jump to the upside, at least in the very short term. So here's the trade today. Putting on the 30 days to expiration right now, 72.73, 92.93 short iron condor. So let's just take a step back and look at this chart for a quick second. The most recent swing low here, which some technicians might define as a morning star candlestick cluster, given this trifecta of candles here, it marked the bottom. No matter how you defined it, it marked the bottom here. And so that low comes in around $73.10. $73.10. Okay, so let's just go 73, 72, a dollar wide. 12 cents of credit alone is not enough to play that swing low. And more importantly, we're so far removed from it. It's not something we'd want to do right now on its own anyway. Selling a put spread into the support is a different story, and maybe we get to a third of the width of the credit if that was the case. But here at 12 cents on a dollar wide strike, that's not a third of the width of the credit. That's actually closer to a third of the width of the credit. So can't be done on its own, which is why I go back to these charts and I look at the recent highs here sitting up near 91, 91 and a quarter or so. And I put my short strike for the short call spread side right on the other side here at 92.93. And again, 92.93, you're only receiving 18 or 19 cents of credit on it. So it's not exactly a great trade unto itself. But when you combine these two together, all of a sudden you're taking in 31 cents of credit here, which is just shy of that 33 cents that we like, but it's close enough. It's in the ballpark. And so for me, it's worth taking a trade here. We need this to work or stay between 73 and 92 to effectively work out here. Why crude? Why now? I mean, for folks who have just started trading, you may be asking yourself, why do people even trade crude? I realize we don't even do this that often. Maybe we talk about why crude's so important. It sits at the intersection of everything: growth, inflation, inventories, currency pricing. Name something out of it. It's going to show up in everywhere. Petroleum is something that filters into basically everything. Are you wearing something with like polyester or nylon right now in your clothing? Are you wearing rubber-soled shoes? Does your car have tires? Did you walk on a road with asphalt in it? I mean, just do you use petroleum jelly at home when like your lips are chapped, right? And you go out into a winter's breeze. You're using all that stuff as a byproduct of oil right now. So when we talk about what's happening here in the oil market, this is WTI CL is benchmark exposure to WTI crude. On the platform, you could see BZ, which is the global benchmark Brent oil. However, there are no BZ options. So to do this, we have to go into CLV6. You could also go into a number of the ETFs if you'd like to. But 73 short put sits below the market. Obviously, the 92 short call sits above the market. We're effectively selling both tails here, right? The trade idea is built around the idea that oil is going to continue to chop around, at least in the very short term. Longer term, we could have a different conversation about how oil looks like it's building for a much more substantial breakout here. I know that a lot of folks don't love when I do this with putting these patterns up on the chart, the inverse head and shoulders at highs, but they do work out from time to time again. And technical analysis is more art than science. So who is anyone to disagree? But the point here is this does look like it's something that's building a little bit into a little bit more of a breakout. Where have we seen this chart pattern before? I'm going to head on over to, what am I thinking of right now? Let's take a step back. Let's go to a weekly chart here. IYT, the weekly chart on IYT, right? Similar type of pattern. You're getting this build. You're getting this build here on the chart pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, before it ultimately breaks out and moves higher. On the daily chart for crude, it feels like it's a similar setup right now. Just, how I analyze these markets and my memory of these charts work out. So crude is not something, if this thing starts to move higher, I want to play with. In fact, I probably want to go something a little bit deeper in time, farther out of the money. Maybe looking at like 9,500, 105 strikes in oil, which at 21.6 IVR and raw volatility at the, we'll call it 58 days to expiration, only a 50% IV. Getting something like a long 100, short 105 call spread here has a lot of convexity to it, and I'm willing to pay 48 cents to effectuate that kind of view. But we're going to try to thread the needle here a little bit first. Mechanically, the iron condor is short to credit spreads, right? The put spread side 73, 72, the short put spread side, we sell the 73 put, we're buying back the 72. That's how it gets paid if CLV6 stays above 73. And the call spread is set 92, 93. We sell the 92 call, buy the 93. We get paid if CLV6 stays below 92 right now. And so with them, we have a range trade here. We don't want this market to break out to new highs. We definitely don't want it to break into new lows here. So at 31 cents, the max credit received is 310. The max risk is $1,000 minus the $310 credit here. So that's 690 before fees and slippage. The lower break even in this is the short put minus the credit here. So 73 minus 31 cents would give you about 72.69. On the other side, a short call strike minus the credit received. So 92 plus 31, that's 92.31. So, okay, our best zone is going to be 73 to 92, the lower break even of 72.69, the upper break even of 92.31. And that's the options math here. So one of the points that Mike Butler has been raising here on air in recent sessions has been why USO is an interesting product to trade, because it is a product, a fund that is buying oil futures, selling oil futures, and using the differential in the contracts that really determines how much money the fund is able to make in excess of what's happening in oil or, well, underperforming oil here. So the first thing that you need to understand about oil, if you're trading this as a new trader, right? If you're one of those folks who's a SPY 0 DTE and you're looking to expand your menu of options, the type of arrows that you keep in your quiver here, oil is physical. Right? This is a physical market. It's not just a chart. It's not just based on financials. It's not just based on people's feelings or expected cash flows. There's a physical product here. It has to be produced. It has to be transported. It has to be refined, stored, shipped, consumed at a point in time. So if there's too much oil being produced and not enough consumption, oil prices go down. If there's too much consumption and not enough production, oil prices go up. But if the S&P 500 gets oversupplied, so to speak, a lot of people are willing to, write calls and puts in the market, synthetically create more volume. No one's renting a tank to put all the extra supply out there. You have to have physical tank space in this market in order to store actual barrels here. So if crude gets tight, somebody needs barrels now, right? You're going to consume your energy today. You're not going to do it, far out in the future. And the curve tells you how the market is pricing oil into the future, right? I want to be clear. These future quotes that you're seeing here, what we're seeing for the CLZ6, CLG7, CLH7, these are not predictors of where price will be in the future. There's no guarantee that come the December 16th expiry, oil is going to be at 79.86. What it indicates is about how the market is feeling about supply and demand. So you'll hear this conversation about contango backwardation. Market right now is in backwardation. The current spot price is trading above the next month futures price, and et cetera, as you go further out in time. Contango is when the front month, the spot price is below that front month price. Okay. And so what we have here in the oil market is you have backwardation, however, so slight, about $2, a little less than that, actually, about $1.30 or so between the V6 and the X6 contract. During the Iran war at its peak, this was going out to about $15 wide. Traders were so desperate, right? Companies, businesses, countries so desperate to secure oil, they were willing to pay a premium to secure supplies now and not wait into the future. As the war has ebbed and flowed, this backwardation has shrunk from about $15 now down to 1, 2, 3 on occasions. But when we've seen the war escalate, we've seen this spread between the front and the next month contract blow out. So this is going to be one of the tells, by the way, if oil prices keep moving up here in the very short term, if we start seeing an 85 from 86 and 87, and we see that this spread begins to widen out some more, it's a sign that the market is beginning to bet on a little bit more near-term supply distress. And that could be a sign that the war is getting ready to escalate. And you can think about the implications for that across a number of other assets. But if we see this spread stay low and oil is just kind of grinding up, but the spread is not blowing out here and the back end of the curve is not moving up substantially, gives you a feeling that maybe this thing is going to peter out at some point in time. So what are we going to do with all this information here? Right now, if this position starts to get challenged, if we start to see prices break above 88, for example, I see recent swing highs cleared out, I start to think inverse head and shoulders pattern here. I don't need to wait around for this trade to go into the dirt in order to turn a profit. If we start pressing, 87, 88, 89, and it's the middle of this week, it's the end of this week, I'm not going to wait for the 92, 93 call spread side to crap out. I may just take this trade off and flip my position into something that is just simply long oil. MCL could be a good product for that, right? MCL is a tenth the size of CL, so CL it's big. Every dollar move in oil futures is a $1,000. Every single 1 cent tick is $10 here. So trading a naked CL, just trading the CL futures, not what I want to do, more importantly, because it's too big, but moreover, not necessarily something that the average retail trader does here. So in terms of modeling, this is where MCL comes in. Micro WTI crude futures here on the platform as MCL, and automatically route to the V6. Same chart you see here. 1/10 the size of CL. MCL controls 100 barrels. A $1 move is $100. A 1 cent move is $1. So same basic crude exposure, a smaller notional footprint. And then there's also QM, which is a newer product in the crude family here. And if you go to QM, you will not see any options on the trade. But right now, it sits between them at 500 barrels in this particular contract. So $1 move is $500. It can work for traders who want more size than MCL, but not as much as CL itself. There are some products out there in the world like BZ, for example, which is the global benchmark, but there are no options here. So you'd have to trade it outright. And if CL is too big of a product for you, then BZ is going to be as well. There are a few refined oil or energy products, I should say. There's RB for gasoline, which again does not have those options, but perhaps something useful to keep an eye on. You could always go over to a refiner if you wanted to get a proxy here for gasoline. There's Crack, the refiners ETF. There's also names like PSX or Marathon Petroleum or Valero as an example. These aren't the most liquid stocks in the world, right? Less than 1 million contracts traded in Valero, just over 1 million in Phillips, just under 1 million here in Marathon. The options chain's just 31 days out. Close to at the money at 364. You're still looking at near $1 wide in MPC. Okay, so perhaps not the cleanest way to do it unless you're a long-term holder, because the shorter term you are, the more you have to take into consideration those transaction costs, the slippage fees, et cetera. You can't afford going 50, 60, 70 cents wide on a bid-ask may not be for you. There's also heating oil, which we mentioned here. Heating oil, like these others, does not have any options available on the platform, but again, something to watch, especially if you're a consumer, right? Hey, heating oil is going up before the winter, folks. That's not going to be great. There's also natural gas, which we could mention here. It's its own beast. We call it the honey badger around here. It does whatever it wants, whenever it wants. Try to apply a standard supply demand model here. Can't really do it. So a lot of it's on sentiment. A lot of it's based on positioning. It's known as the widowmaker for a number of reasons, particularly that March-April spread. If you want to learn more about trading natural gas before you do, and you want to learn about risk management, in fact, go look up the story of Amaranth Capital and Brian Hunter. This is a fund that went bust in the 2000s. Brian Hunter was martingaling his way through natural gas futures, which martingaling itself is a pretty dumb idea, unless you don't have unlimited capital, right? And so in theory, unless you have unlimited capital, you're going to go, I guess you could make it back, but no one has unlimited capital. So martingaling through natural gas futures is just bonkers. Go check that out. Brian Hunter at Amaranth Capital and how he destroyed his fund with NG. But either way here, I just wanted to run through some of the energy futures, energy products for some folks. Only one idea today right now. It's a CL position in CLV6, the 72.73, 92.93 Iron Condor right now, collecting around 31 cents in credit. So making 310, risking potential 690 there. About a 60% probability of profit as well, paying out a little bit better than 2-to-1. So it checks enough boxes here. But if crude oil in the CLV6 starts to break through 88, take whatever loss there is on the board, I'm going to be flipping to a long position here. And at that point in time, regardless of what's going on in the Iran war, oil is a physical market. And if the ships aren't flowing through the Strait of Hormuz, Houston, we have a problem. That's my trade of the day.